Hello everybody and welcome back to another Civilization 5 video. So today we'll be looking at a science victory in general. And so last time I was talking about population equals science in this world. And now I'll be looking at, like I said, a scientific victory more. So I'll be explaining science, I'll be explaining great scientists, scientific technologies and all that. So let's start off with just this here, the National College. So the faster you get this National College up, the more science you'll be producing faster than anybody else in the world, except if you're maybe like there's a Korea or a Babylon in the world. And so when you're building your cities, you have to calculate the cities you are building with the timing of philosophy. When you get philosophy, you want to try to build the National College as fast as you can because this is what's really going to boost your empire and to able to get these medieval technologies. If not, you're going to have a lot of trouble generating enough science. This National College is going to boost you enough to get education. And so when you are getting these cities, try to calculate 4 cities max and then National College. If you want to just do 2 cities National College, is fine. You just don't want to get National College too late. Usually on quick speed, you want to get your National College between, I would say, turn 80 to 110, and 110 is starting to be really slow. The faster you get it, the better it is. So if you get it on turn 70, that's great. If you get it on turn 80, that's great. Turn 90, you should start building it. Turn 100, you're getting a little slow. You want to get the National College as fast as you can on quick speed multiplayer because other players are going to be getting it, and so you're just going to get left behind. So that's the first thing. Now, scientific technologies. These technologies are writing, education, scientific theory, and plastics. You can also include the growth technologies because, like I said last video, population equals science. And so, plastic. We also have scientific theory, education, and writing that are all going to give you scientific buildings that are going to improve your science greatly. And those are sort of like milestones in science. So if you want to like, after writing, you're probably going to want to try to get philosophy, okay, for your science. And so when you're beelining science, it's writing, philosophy, education. That's pretty much the early game, like rush. It's for education. After that, you get a drop off over here. There's a drop off where you're gonna have to get a lot of cultural buildings, but there is the porcelain tower that you want to try to get if you're going for a science victory, and also observatories if you have cities next to mountains. So in the Renaissance, it's like a downhill for science, but you can still get some science stuff. And when you get to the industrial era, you want to try to focus on public schools. You want to try to get public schools because that's the next boost in your science. Public schools will boost your science into the industrial era, into the modern era. And once you're in modern era, you're probably going to enter modern era into radio if you're rushing that, and that's going to lead you to plastics. And plastics is the last technology that's really going to boost your science in a major way, which is going to lead you towards rocketry for the Apollo program for your science victory. And so if you look at this, all your science technologies are on the top of the tree. And this is what I've noticed. The top of the tree is usually science based, the bottom of the tree is usually military based, and the middle of the tree is just a mix of it. Sometimes you can get culture, sometimes you get money, usually money in the middle, because you see our guilds, banking, a lot of the money economics, a lot of the money making, gold making technologies are in the middle. And yeah, so that's it for technologies. Now we're going to look at rationalism. Rationalism, like I said in my previous video, population equals science. You want to have the entire rationalism tree like taken. You want to take this rationalism tree completely. Why? Because without it, you're not going to be able to compete in a science victory against other civilizations that take this. The +2 science for every specialist is great because you're going to be working a lot of specialists. You're going to be working the university specialists. You're going to be working public labs. Every public, yeah, is that public labs? No, research labs and public schools. Whoops. So yeah, you're gonna be working a lot of specialists. So that's a great I get for you. Great scientist generation speaks for itself. It's great. One plus gold from science building is just it's fun to get. It's not the best, but it's just fun to have. This free thought is excellent. You want this. This is beautiful. Free thought is a great one. And scientific revolution. If you're having research agreements, this is great in general. And so, as you can see, rationalism as a whole will help you in science and just surpass other civilizations. And then the last thing is great scientists. Great scientists, okay, a trick that civilization players use is that after researching a scientific technology, which is scientific theory, plastics, usually those two, is you're going to want to build as fast as possible those public schools and research labs. And 8 turns after researching that technology, pop your scientists. So that's what it's called, a great scientist pop rush. You're popping all your scientists on the same turn, 8 turns after researching that scientific technology to get the most out of your science. Because the game will calculate the amount of science you have 8 turns after researching that scientific technology. And so, after you get the scientific theory, let's say, you're going to want to build all your public schools as fast as you can, and 8 turns after researching scientific theory, you're going to want to pop all your sciences that are in your city that you've been like holding on. Usually, you want to start holding on to scientists in the early industrial era because you're going to want to try to pop for scientific theory, but the real rush is at plastics. Scientific theory, you may be getting like 1 or 2 great scientists that you kept in the Renaissance era, but usually it's at plastics you'll be getting that scientific rush. Because usually in the medieval era, maybe even beginning in Renaissance, you're still planting those scientists. Because you want to see, when you're planting science, you want to see if it's still worth planting the scientists, or is it better just keeping it for that rush? And so that's a tip for you guys. Great scientists is just keeping them for plastics and just boosting plastics with tons of um, great scientists after 8 turns to just speed along this track and try to get as fast as possible towards these rockets and boosters and all that stuff. Science victory conditions. And that's pretty much it on the science like track. And at the end for your science victory, just try to get Apollo program and then focus on these satellites, advanced ballistics, these technologies that are giving you the parts needed to build the science victory, the science vessel, the spaceship towards the unknown. And that's pretty much the science victory. It's rushing those science technologies, getting those great scientists, and just producing as much food for science as you can. So if you like my video, please subscribe and leave a like down below. And if you have any comments, leave them down below. I'll happily answer any of them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.